And so what I found is, as a rep company, we're more than just that relationship to the customer. We have to be a marketing arm for them as well. And, when we begin those relationships with customers, or with principals, we try to understand that, because that, relates to the amount of work that we got to do for that principal to market their product.
The first goal for modern marketing in today's manufacturing environment is to make sure the products stay top of mind. If you're looking for marketing industry knowledge, you're in the right place. This podcast will help you overcome your marketing and sales challenges. I'm Sannah Vinding, and in this podcast, we'll take a deep dive and explore how to succeed in the electronics manufacturing industry. Welcome to Modern Marketing for Manufacturing Companies and Manufacturing Reps. We'll be talking to industry leaders about how they're meeting the needs of their B2B customers in the electronics manufacturing industry. I'm your host, Sannah Vinding, and today I have Tim Paulus with me. He's an experienced business leader and the president of EI Sales. That's the manufacturing representative. So, Tim, welcome today. I'm really excited to have you on today.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
So I don't think everybody knows you. So if you just could tell me a little bit about your background, that would be a great introduction.
Sure. So been in the industry for probably 30 years. Most of that was spent at Arrow in various roles throughout the country. About 5 years ago, I decided to make a move, and I'm working for a great company called EI Sales, which is part of a larger organization called EI Microcircuits. So we're a rep company that covers the entire central U.S., but also has manufacturing and other divisions that build product.
Nice. So you can support each other. So I want to talk about the manufacturing representative or the manufacturing rep. So a question here is what does it take to be a great manufacturing rep?
I think, first and foremost, you have to have a team that's knowledgeable of the industry, have a good customer base, and then have systems and processes to back them up. And have consistent processes so that when a manufacturing rep comes to EI or any other rep company, they have essentially a product, right? I get X, Y, and Z from this company. And so what we've tried to do is create a platform for our manufacturers as well as our customers. When they come to us, they know they get a set product from us. So we've tried to do our best to standardize around a system and a platform that brings manufacturers and customers together.
Yeah. And how about the relationship? Because that's really important, right? That you have. So how have that changed over the last couple of years?
Well, definitely moving from a distributor role to a manufacturer rep role, it's a completely different relationship. That being said, all the fundamentals are the same as far as trust and performance. We live in a world today where relationships are key, but they're also built on performance. So, and that goes with our manufacturers. They expect a certain level of performance, but they also expect great relationships and that trust that's developed over time.
Yeah. What about marketing? Have you done anything more unique? I like your website. I went and looked at that. It's really up to date, and it's also mobile friendly, which is what you need these days.
Yeah.
But what have you done over the last couple of years as well to change, right, to be more digital? What if you can share some examples?
Sure. Well, it was a great opportunity to invest. We invested in our website, which you saw, and updated the website so that it was more reachable. We were based on an older technology. It wasn't very reachable. It wasn't the content. It is always a battle, and you still need to develop content for it. But our content previously wasn't super rich, and so we're continuing to add content and build that out. So it was just a modernization of our website, and then we invested in tools and tried to do things that were very consistent, like my background. My team has the same background. We have a consistent message that we want to send about our platform, and so the marketing of who we are was something we didn't do a lot of before. In fact, when I came to EI Sales, I knew of EI Microcircuits, but I didn't know as much about EI Sales came to the company. And so I thought it was a great opportunity to tell our story, which is a great one. And so we've done that through LinkedIn, and we've set up different pages on LinkedIn to support not only the marketing of ourselves, but our principals as well. Because our principals, what we found is they're in the same boat we're in. How do you modernize your website? How do you market your name? We also started a calendar of marketing events where we were setting up different events online for our principals and for ourselves, so that our customers had a consistent message that was coming from us. So we've upped our game. We've connected to more people. And we've reached out to more people to follow us. So all those things are pieces and parts. And then we've also invested in other tools. Zoom Info is a great tool that we invested in to shorten the cycle time of when we try to connect with a customer to who we're marketing to without becoming a spam.
Finding the right people, right?
A spamming person, you know what I mean? So that was important to us. We wanted to send a message without bothering people.
So how do you use the content if you get anything from the principals for the manufacturing companies? Do you ask for something, or is it them actually sharing with you and then you get creative and then share it on your platforms?
That's a great question. So it depends. Some principals are very good about monthly sending out content for us to redistribute to our customer base, right? Some principals need help in that area. And so in some cases, we've actually developed content for them so that they can redistribute out to their customer base. And so what I found is, as a rep company, we're more than just that relationship to the customer. We have to be a marketing arm for them as well. And, when we begin those relationships with customers, with principals, we try to understand that, because that, relates to the amount of work that we got to do for that principal to market their product.
So what about the relationship to distribution? And you've been in the distribution before, so you know it really well. How is that? Because it's like you have the manufacturing, you have the rep, right? And you have distribution. So how is that communication, the relationship? How do you make sure that you're all on the same page?
Well, I talked about it a little bit earlier, but that marketing calendar, distributors have a big challenge. They have line cards that demand a lot from them, and with a lot of lines. And our value proposition to them is to help weed through that and what will help them in their marketplace. I'll give a great example. We had a meeting with a distributor in Austin, and in the meeting, the principal brought up a lot of great products geared towards the cell phone industry and the EV market and so on and so forth, which is great. It's not a cell phone or EV hotbed. There are opportunities, but what the distributor really needs us to do is tailor down that information to their market, because they're getting a lot of information. How can we help them? What customers is this market good for, specific to their market? So the more that we can do that for them, the more value we're going to add to it, because we all have roles to play, right? There are sometimes those roles conflict with each other. And so the best thing that we can do is, where we can work together and work well together, we help them do their job. And I believe if we do that, the relationship will grow and sales will grow too.
What about the whole challenge with supply chain as well, right? You still have long lead times.
And so long lead times are part of our business, and it's, again, where's our value in this whole piece? When I look at opportunities for salespeople, be it distribution, our own team, or the principals, they're looking for what they can sell. And we have lines that have lower lead times that may help solve a problem for both customers and the distributor or the manufacturer. And so what we try to do is and we did this is we started looking at where the lines had product, what's in stock, what's available. We actually were sending LinkedIn posts on what was in stock and that customers could use and design in that had a good accessibility. And so, again, solving problems, finding your value for those customers and distributors and principals was what we try to do. That being said, it is a tough market, and every day we're all dealing with one supply chain issue or another, if not many. It is our life right now.
Yeah, let's have less expedite meetings, right? No,
that's for sure.
Yeah. What about with the manufacturing rep model? Because I've heard in different ways in the industry, some principals or manufacturing companies are saying, "Yeah, we're a big believer," right? And then there's others saying, "No way, this is a dying, dinosaur that's going to happen." So what do you see in maybe 5 to 10 years? Where do you think the manufacturing reps are going to be?
Well, I mean, our model's a little bit different, right? We're a mixed mode. We have both our own manufacturing and our own, we're an OEM of sensors, we're a manufacturer of boards, we're also a manufacturer's representative. The core of my group is that representative organization. I think we always are going to be reevaluating what our value is. Yeah. And that's the principals and to the customers. As long as there are a lot of suppliers out there, they're going to need help accessing customers. I think what's going to change a lot is, and what's changed the industry a lot is the technology. And it's really important that we embrace technology to access customers and automate the sales process. So from my point of view, we're still not quite there yet, but I think whoever figures out how to automate the process better and make it more easy for our customers and manufacturers to get to know each other and find value in their products, that person will win. And I think the rep organization has a great opportunity to do that. But we need to embrace the technology as fast as our manufacturers are as well. And the manufacturers in many cases are doing that. Yeah. And then there's concern about, I think the term is disintermediation and even the distributors may find a concern there as well, because certain manufacturers are going directly to their customers. Yeah. And so there is a piece of that that we should all be aware of. I believe though that if we find new ways to add value, the rep organization will continue to thrive and grow. And as long as there are new companies that are developing new products, they're going to need to find ways to market. Yeah. So that's good, right? That's the future for the manufacturing reps. Yeah. I want to talk about it as well with the generations. We have the young engineers, the older engineers. We have the one that's more digital, tech savvy. We have the one that wants the printed catalog. So what's your experience of the behavior, or how you actually are going, how you're reaching out to this generations of different generations of engineers? Yeah, it's tough. I will tell you right now, especially because, and I don't know if this is a generational thing. I think this is more of a COVID thing, is that more people are working from home. Yeah. And the only way to access them at home is via email, LinkedIn, that sort of thing, or a cell phone if you have it, because they're using their cells today. And so the response rate as we reach out to customers is more challenging. And I think that spans multiple generations. It's not just your new engineer that's out there. I think a lot of people have found comfort working from home. And so how we reach those and how we market those has changed. Zoom Info has helped us tremendously. It shortens that cycle time of who we're trying to access and who we're trying to get to. Yeah. That's been beneficial for us, but that is just a tool. It does not make the sale. And I've mentioned that multiple times to my team. It is not a sale. it is a tool to get us to.
It gives you the foot in, right? Or it gives you a lead. It doesn't give you the opportunity to sell, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And so, how we reach out to those engineers, they do have different needs that I've found. Younger engineers, need more help and need more hand holding.
Yeah.
And so there's an opportunity there where we can bring in resources, technical resources, to help them get what they need to get their job done.
Yeah.
And accessing them is a little bit tougher. I will say that's a challenge at times, but when you build that relationship, and that relationship is based on, again, what I said before, is performance, helping them, doing things for them that will get their job done, then I think that spans generations. As you deal with your more seasoned engineers, they just need to find what it is that they need to find to get their job done. So speed is important with all of this, and good data is important, which means good websites, product availability, having the data when they need it. Yeah. And the toughest part of all of this is providing it exactly when they need it, finding out when that lightning strikes, being able to be there. And that's where I think technology will help us down the road. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're saying no matter then if it's a younger engineer, a more seasoned engineer, right? For you, if you can get that engineer to shine in the company, right? That's the value you're bringing. And then you shine as well together with them. Yeah.
That's right.
So what kind of information do you send or do you share? So is it to link to the website, to the manufacturing? Is it brochures, maybe PDF, or is it video? Is it a little bit of everything, or is that one of them that you can see is giving more traction?
I would say it's a little bit of everything. Video is important, and it's driving more activity than other forms of data. But it is a struggle, and I can tell you, we've spent a lot of money on SEO on some of our website properties, and got very little result out of it. And it was based on the type of content we were putting in there. It's an expensive venture. I mean, it's not an easy thing, but videos are one area where we see growth, and that does help us out quite a bit. But the content in general, I'll just say this, is that depending on your principle, the content quality and the investment in content on a consistent basis, and I think that's important, a consistent program around investing it. And that's print, it's email, it's video, seem to get the best results overall. And that's where, we see the just a consistent message out there around the product seems to be the best overall tactic. I always tell my team, I'm like, why does Coca-Cola still advertise? Yeah. Right? Because we all know what Coke is. We all know what Coca-Cola is. Why do they still advertise? They do it all the time, so, and it's just a consistent, there's got to be a consistent process, and it's, trying new avenues to gain access to them. Yeah. We found even, I was never a huge fan of this, but we found that things like trade shows at post-COVID, which I guess we're really not post-COVID, but trade shows have really picked up quite a bit. For whatever reason, people want to get out and be out. Get away from the home office. I think that's it. I think they're closed up, and so that activity was kind of surprising. In the right venues has been very good. So.
What about product training or lunch and learn? Have you had to change how your approach to that?
Yeah, well, we've done a lot of, we've invested in gimbals to do walkthroughs of some of our factories and that sort of thing. And we've done video lunch and learns, and that, through COVID. And what we've done is partner up with certain principals to do more of a training. Less of a marketing event, more of a training event. And those had some pretty good traction. But all of that takes content development, right?
Yeah.
And so that, there's a burden on somebody to develop that information.
Yeah.
But we do find that when it's pure training and it's technical and it's helpful to the engineer, the less marketing, the better.
Yeah.
The more technical training and product that that company sells woven in there seems to have the biggest appeal.
Yeah, because it brings value, right? It's informational,
Right.
educational, and it brings value to that engineer.
Sure.
And the more you do that, as you're saying, right, like Coca-Cola, right? But it's your branding. The more you show that you're there, maybe they don't need you that week, but maybe they need you in 3 weeks. So if you show up every week with good content, you will be on their mind, right?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Cool. So, and I'm sure you're facing this as well, because I heard that with some manufacturing reps are saying, oh yeah, going to the office, right? And then suddenly there's only half the engineers because half of them are working at home and then half of them are there. So how do you plan? Is it all virtual now when you're doing these kind of events, or do you drive longer and saying, hey, it's really important. Actually, I just have lunch with this engineer. So I'm instead of just going 15 minutes to the office, now I need to take a drive an hour because I'm going to, not into their home, right? But close to their home.
Well, I've seen the activity in face-to-face visits increase across the team. They're out making calls now. Customers are busy. There's a few that are still held back, but they're either meeting them at their facility. They're meeting for breakfast, they're meeting for lunch. So customers have really started to open up again, and markets vary and industries vary on how much access that you have to their team. But in general, I think people are ready to get back to the face-to-face meetings. And so we're seeing a lot of activity as we used to. I will say that, there's still, and just looking at all the travel receipts from my team, it's still not as high as as pre-pandemic, but it's getting back to normal, I would say, which is good.
That is good. Yeah, we need it, right? I think.
Yes, we do.
Been some kind of a journey. So if you're looking back, and we're not out of the pandemic, but we know all the negative. But if you have to take and saying, this is one positive thing that actually helped or actually changed your company, what will that be?
I would say we did a lot more work on the marketing piece than we would have otherwise. We invested in tools that still help us today, and we're still using them. We have, of the tools we adopted through the pandemic, we haven't disposed of. They're still part of our process. We still use all of them in different ways. I would say that we're not leaning on them as heavy. That's good. But it definitely is. It's helped us as a company to look at how we're imaged and how we're reaching customers. And I would say it's, the visits that you do have, you're more efficient about those visits these days than you've ever been before. And on both sides, I think customers have done that as well. Do you really need to be here or do you not? And the days of just dropping off, a data sheet to say hello, I don't want to say they're gone, but you better have a pretty specific reason to go into a customer these days. They're not just opening the door just to hang out and drop off data sheets.
No. Yeah, it's like the first meetings, right? You can have them as a virtual meetings, and then when you deeper into some of the problems or challenges and solutions, right? That's where you actually then saying let's meet up. What about all the with digital and tools and everything is so fast? What about the responsiveness? Have you seen how that has changed, that you need to not work faster but be faster to get the answers together?
I would say from an expectation level, we're all used to getting information and feedback like we do when we buy from Amazon. Right? We want to know how good this thing is. Does it work? Is it available? So on and so forth. So waiting, to me, correlates to potentially losing the opportunity.
Yeah.
So you better have good digital tools to give the information to our customers when they need it, when they're asking for it, or they're just going to move on. It's too easy to gather information elsewhere, and I think everybody's moving at generally at a fast pace to resolve problems and so on and so forth. They don't want them to sit, and so unless you have some whiz bang technology that nobody else has. If you have a commodity or anything else that you're selling, you better provide the data quickly in a way it's pretty consumable for the customer.
Yeah. I want to ask you about an advice. So if you're like a manufacturing rep and you are saying, okay, I need to start this digital marketing strategy, right? Starting on this journey. And it's big, right? You can do, there's so many things you can do.
Yeah.
That's the website. You can do Zoom info. You can do drip campaigns. That you could drown in it, right? Before you actually get started. So
Sure.
if you want to, I don't know, if you have an advice to say, hey, these are the, this is the, take it further down, right? To make it a little bit simple. This is how they should start. What kind of advice would you give them?
Well, I think what we started is what message you want to send about your company, right? What do you want to do, and then and who you are, so you have a consistent process and a brand as you send information out. So we worked on that quite a bit at first, and then we looked at the methods. LinkedIn is a common platform that many people use.
Yeah.
So it can be overused too. How do you want to position things on LinkedIn? Do you have a company page, or is it just individual pages? There's certain things like that the basics of just how people access it. And I think LinkedIn's one that people access information on a day-to-day basis, but it's not, it's not the end all to where you're going. And then we use tools like Constant Contact. We use Zoom Info.
Yeah.
We have multiple websites for our different companies, and we use them to feed off of each other a bit as well. So I would just say, from my point of view, is one, what type of message are you trying to send? Or if it's about who you are as a company, or if it's about your end customers' products. I think there's a little bit of planning that you need to do just on who you are as a company. And then next is, start to look at the methods of delivery, where your customers are at, how they access data, and, what brings value to them. Because in the end, if you're sending information out and it's spam, or if it's, you're inundating people with information that they don't want, they're going to turn you off and tune you out. And, so we try to be very specific and narrow down our message to certain people, and that takes technology, and it takes time and effort to do that as well. But I think the return is a lot better when you do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. So if any listener wants to reach out to you, how can they connect with you?
The best way to reach me is via email. Just send me an email at Tim Paulus, TIMPAULUS @eisales.com is the best way to get a hold of me. And if you have any questions, or if I can help anybody, I'd be more than glad to.
Awesome. And I'll put the email as well in the show notes, and also on the episode page on mindinnovation.com. So Tim, thank you so much. This was great to learn about, how much you've done. And I think you've succeeded a lot. Just to hear, all the tools you're using. I'm like getting proud of you guys. This is just
well, thank you.
No,
we're trying hard. We're trying hard.
Keep doing it. Add videos as well. I think that's your next step, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye now.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Mind Innovation Special Edition about modern marketing for manufacturing companies and manufacturing reps. New episodes are dropping bi-weekly, so make sure you're following wherever you get your podcasts. You can find me on LinkedIn, search for Sannah Vinding. You can also find me on YouTube, search for Mind Innovation, or go to my website, sannahvinding.com, or check out mindinnovation.com. Stay curious and keep learning.